Hello, everybody. Welcome to Townsend 505. Um, my name is Nick. Uh, here, speaking here in my bedroom of the great state of Pennsylvania, as Jason would say if he lived where I live. Joining me today is Sir Garbage Can on the right. Oh, Scott actually. Scott on the right, and Jacob on the bottom. Uh,
Hello.
as you can see, me and Jacob we have some strong disagreements today, which is good. I like disagreements because who would want to see a review of all of us liking or disliking the same thing, you know?
It definitely makes the videos more interesting. I'll say that.
Yes.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
disclaimer before we begin, I said this on the Beatles for sale video. No matter what happens, no matter how much we agree or disagree, uh, this is just music, and this this is whatever I say. It's not like nothing's personal. It's just we're gonna have disagreements, and we're gonna have like an agreement or maybe we'll just one agreement really. Um, but the order of the review will be Scott, Jacob, and me.
Oh
Uh,
boy, me first.
yes, I'll let the most negative person get out of the way, then the second most negative, and then of course the
Okay.
most positive one. Um, Before we begin, I just want to give a quick background information. So right after Between the Buttons, they went out to make this album. Contrary, contrary to most beliefs, um, and I want everyone who's listening to me right now listen really hardly. This is not a Sergeant Pepper ripoff. They were making this right after Between the Buttons, which was January, and they got busted for drugs. One of the first songs that they recorded was "She's a Rainbow," um, kind of in that same vein as what's called Ruby Tuesday. Um, so basically, they were getting busted with drugs. Keith Richards was having an affair with Brian Jones's mistress, which would end up becoming Keith Richards' mistress.
Oh.
Just so many different bad things happening. The band was going in and out of the studio. Andrew Oldham was fired. He is no, Between the Buttons was his very last album as a Rolling Stone.
Well, thank goodness for that, because he was kind of a weird guy. Saying to
So-
beat up blind people to buy the Rolling Stones album.
This is like the first this is like the first album without him as the managers, and you could hear it kind of in the production. I know I know Jacob and Scott could really see it, but yeah, it definitely, if you look back on Between the Buttons and the Aftermath album, you could definitely hear a drastic difference in quality in terms of production. Um, Not that, but yeah, Jason said it perfectly. They did lots of drugs. There's some days where only Bill Wyman and Charlie Watts would show up to the studio to record. There's just so much madness going on during the making of this. And another reason why I find it hard to believe that this Sergeant Pepper ripoff is there's so much turmoil going through the band right now that to me I don't think the newest Beatle album is really that much of the biggest concern for the Rolling Stones at this time. So if I'm going to compare it to an album, I'm going to take some. There's some parts of Tomorrow Never Knows I could say they were trying to base it off of. But yeah, there was just so much stuff going on that yeah, it took them basically a full year to make this album really. If I know we covered Flowers, but that's a compilation. That's because the U.S. wasn't getting any albums, and they really need a U.S. album out. But going from early January from the UK album Between the Buttons to now, it's like late December, and it's like so much was going on, and this is like a madness album. But how are you guys doing tonight, by the way?
Oh, doing good.
Yeah, very good.
All right, nice. My Rangers beat the Boston Bruins the third time this year, making it 3-0, and that's basically about it for me. I'm pretty hyped up right now. I'm hyped up to talk about an album I really like. Is the Garbage Can coming out tonight? Yes, sir. definitely eating my own. They're definitely giving me a taste of my own medicine tonight. I'll tell you that, Jason. I had the trash can out for most of the Beatles for Sale album, and now they're doing it for me. So bring it out, bring it on. Give me a big handful of the spoon of the medicine that I deserve. I said it in the last video. I'm like, y'all are gonna make me eat my words on this one, and good. I'm glad, because if I could hate an album, you guys could hate an album. I don't want everyone liking and disliking
I
everything.
will say it's most of the album. There are some songs that I like on this album.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I think I want to preface that I do not hate this album. I don't think it's a good album, and there are some really bad songs on this album. I think this is a major step down, but I'm not gonna rate it as low as you did with Beatles for Sale. I will say
No, not nearly as low as that.
well, that's good. I mean, again, if you did, it would be more than justified, because, like I said, I don't want if everyone likes everything I like and everyone hates everything I hate. I mean, yeah, it's, and I agree with Jason. This is a hell of a lot better than Preservation Act.
Oh no!
That's like one of the worst albums I've ever heard.
Is that the Kinks album that you're on next?
Yep, we're gonna have to review that piece of garbage.
Oh wow!
Even Beatles for Sale is better than Preservation Act 2. That's how awful it is. It's
Wow.
So bad. So tough.
That's probably a reason I've never heard of this album.
Yeah. So before we start reviewing, like I said, you guys, what are your brief thoughts?
Okay, so I'm gonna get the elephant in the room out of the way first. I hate the name of this album, even though there's not a single lyric about the devil on it. I get it's a joke off of what it says in British passports, Her Britannic Majesty requests, but still, like, I don't know, I still don't really like the title of this album. That being said, even if the name of this album was the original name they went with, Cosmic Christmas, I would still not like this album. It's just, I'm not a huge fan of this album. It's this sound does not work well for the Rolling Stones, in my opinion. They do so much better whenever they're doing the bluesy rock, and even like if they're doing more experimental stuff, it's better when their more experimental stuff is still more, I don't know, listenable. Like, I like whenever they bring out the big production where Brian Jones is playing all the different instruments, but whenever they like go crazy and add all the drug influence, it just does not work for the Rolling Stones, in my opinion. I know Nick said that he doesn't think this is a Sgt. Pepper ripoff, but I think they've had to been ripping off somebody, because everyone in the 60s, 67 was doing psychedelic music. My opinion is that this is a trend-chasing album where the Rolling Stones were trying too hard to sound like other psychedelic acts of the time, and because of that, they're kind of abandoning the sound that made them the Stones, which is it's an interesting endeavor. My hat goes off to them for trying something different, but it doesn't exactly work. And I'm very glad that they go back to their more traditional sound for the next album. In fact, it's an even more traditional Stone sound than they have been on like Aftermath and Between the Buttons. It sounds more like their older sound, but with more original stuff. And that's where the Stones get like what's called the classic period of the Stones, where they have some of their most well-known and well-appreciated albums in that period. But I will leave off on this. This is not my favorite album. I don't think this sound works for the Stones, and I am very excited to get to the next several albums because they're so much better, in my opinion.
I don't think I have much more to add than what Scott's already said. I respect the Stones for trying to do something different with this album. I think it's admirable. But aside from, I will admit I liked about half the songs on this album. But I think as a whole, I don't think psychedelic suits the Rolling Stones. I think what Scott was saying, it felt like they were trying to chase the big trend that was going on that year, do the trippy psychedelic music, kind of like drug-infused type music. And some artists can pull that off very well. Like, Jimi Hendrix pulled that off, and Jefferson Airplane, and even the Beatles on the Sgt. Pepper album. But I don't know. This one just felt like it was too weird for the sake of being weird. And to me, the whole album is, I would say it's a mixed bag personally, but more probably mixed negative because I really dislike half of this album.
Here's something I just thought about. I like psychedelic music that you can still enjoy whenever you're not high because I don't do drugs. Some psychedelic music, apparently they say you can only understand when you're on drugs, and this and Pink Floyd's Piper at the Gates of Dawn are two albums that I kind of feel are in that style.
It is a weird album title, Jason says. Personally, I don't like either the original idea or this album name. Both albums are doing too much.
They should have called it 2000 Light Years from Home. That would have been the best title for this album.
Yeah, that'd be
Yeah, or-
title.
Either that or Citadel. Citadel would be a cool title with the album cover. Where like
I mean, they already have a Citadel on the album cover, so it would make sense to call it that.
Yeah,
maybe even 2000 Men. That might have been
Yeah,
a cool name.
whatever, anything but that. Those two.
Yeah, because if you're calling it Satanic Majesties Request, you're going to attract the wrong group of people that think it's like a, I don't know, devil worshipping album, and it's not really that. It's more a psychedelic rock album where they picked a weird title to joke.
Yeah, I don't know. I know, like, kind of like what Scott said. I knew what the album it's supposed to be parodying, but part of me is like, what's the point of this? Like,
I know.
just give it a real album title, please. There's no point in trying to be extra and trying to, like, the problem is that, like, most people aren't British, so.
Yeah. And even like the Stones song that is talking about the devil, Sympathy for the Devil, isn't exactly devil worshipping. It's honestly making the devil look stupid, trying to point fingers at other people, if you ask me. But we'll save that review for that song next week.
Yes. As for my thoughts on the album, I am definitely the one who likes this album the most. This is one of my favorite albums of theirs. This will always be in at least of my top 5 Stones albums. I've always loved this album. I've never disliked it. I always dig the sound of it. I even go as far as to say it's better than a big handful of albums from '67. That's how much I like this album. For them saying that this is them trying to be like Sgt. Pepper's, I think it's a lot more crazier than Sgt. Pepper's. I don't think any of the songs on Sgt. Pepper's went as crazy as any of the songs on this album. That doesn't mean crazier means better. But this is a lot crazier than that album. I don't think Sgt. Pepper sounds anything like this album, besides one particular track, which we will be talking about. But I've always liked this album.
Benefit of Mr. Kite is kind of close to what they're doing on this album, but it's not nearly as extreme.
Yeah. It's probably why Mr. Kite is probably one of my least favorites, because I like that song, but yeah, that's like the, I don't know. But
now you're making me looking forward to reviewing Sgt. Pepper, and we got a few other Beatles albums to go through first.
Mm-hmm.
Some very good ones too, so I better not jump the gun, because Help and Revolver and Rubber Soul are absolutely amazing.
But I disagree. I enjoy this album a lot, even without the influence of drugs. For me, at least. But like I said, for Jacob and Scott, let's rip the Band-Aid off and let's jump right into the first track on the album. Sing this all together.
Oh boy. So I got the garbage can out. I respect this song more than I like it. I respect that they're having this weird horn section and have all these trippy sound effects, and they're trying to sound like it's like you're at a party or something, and it's a weird sing-along, and they're like, it's time to sing this song all together. It's definitely a statement, but it just doesn't work for me. It's such a weird way to open your album. Like, I'm like, every time I hear this, it's just like, what the heck? Like, I have no idea what's going on here. Like, if you didn't tell me this was the Rolling Stones, I would have thought this was some crazy psychedelic band in the 60s that had only made one album, because it does not sound like the Rolling Stones, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't care for this song either. I don't think it's bad enough for me to get the garbage can out, but I do think this song is a misfire. As soon as I heard the weird, distorted horns, I knew, yeah, this is gonna be a rough album to get through, isn't it? Uh, they're trying to throw everything at the wall. It sounds like with this song, there's like so many instruments that they're trying to throw in on this song, and it doesn't work. It sounds like the Stones don't want to be there vocally. Like, I think hearing about that they rushed the production because of some of the behind the scenes turmoil, I think it makes sense why I think this album is a mess. And this is not a good opening song. It's a very poor way to start the album.
This album, now that I'm thinking about it, kind of sounds like they finished Between the Buttons and were like, oh, you know what? Something Happened to Me Yesterday was a really funny song. Let's do more songs like that, but make them even weirder. That's kind of what it sounds like.
It's a good comparison, actually. I love this song. This is a really fun way to open up the album. John Lennon and Paul McCartney are doing backup vocals on the choruses. It's an awesome way to open up the album. I love the weird trumpet horn thing in the beginning. I think it's such a cool way to start up the album. Kind of brings in the cool atmosphere of the album. I really dig just the kind of like funness of the song. Why don't we sing this song all together? Open our heads, let the pictures go. Man, I can't get enough of this song. This is in like one of my favorites, but man, I've always digged this track. What a awesome way to introduce the album for me. That is.
I think I just realized why I'm not too big on this song. It has the same vibes as Only a Northern Song by the Beatles, and I don't like that song either.
I actually love that song. I'm not a fan of Go Ted Soup either. I think he's referring to the album title. We do get a good devil song on Beggars Banquets.
That is a weird album title, but the album cover is a lot worse.
Yeah, it's just like Mick Jagger, like, oh, this face all distorted. And then the back is them like on match heads or something.
I thought you were talking about the Satanic Majesties Request album cover. I'm like, oh man, I love
that one.
The album cover of this album is actually really creative.
I'll say I know we're disagreeing on stuff, but I thought that was one of the things we were going to agree on.
The album cover,
the Go Ted Soup album cover is horrible.
Yeah, no, the album cover for this one's kind of cool. It has a very fantasy vibe to it, and then that with the inside is very creative, but not too big on the album itself, sadly.
Okay, now we get to the next track on the album. Take two. Now we get to the next song on the album, Citadel.
Okay, I'm actually going to take the trash can off for a moment. I reappraised this song, and I don't hate it. I don't really love it either, but it at least kind of rocks. It's got a good guitar riff. I like the guitar sound with the reverb on it. It's one of the more tolerable songs on the album for me.
Yeah, I'm similar in agreement with Scott. I don't hate this song. I think this song has a really good guitar riff, but aside from that, I don't really get much out of this song. I'll share this story. I think I shared it with Nick and Scott behind the scenes, but when I first listened to this album, I was fixing a pizza while listening to this album, and there were these like weird noises in the song. There's like these noises where it's like woo, 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 and it sounded, and it messed with my ears so much. I felt like I set like a an alarm off. I felt like I thought I was like burning the pizza or something like that, but no, it's just this song, and I'm like, why are they manipulating me like this? This is weird.
Pizza time.
But now that I know it's part of the song, I'm like, it's just a weird song, no more, no less. And I feel like I don't really get the song personally. It's just kind of, I say this from if I'm bored with a song, it just goes in one ear and out the other. And this is another one of those songs.
Happy birthday to Jacob's dad.
Yep, my dad's birthday is today.
Happy birthday to him.
I don't think he'll be watching this video, but
No. I am in again disagreement with the two of you. This is an awesome song. The guitar riff is the best guitar riff that they've ever done. I have the balls to say that. It's very electrifying. I always loved it. This is an awesome song. I love the words, Candy and Taffy. It's such a weird song, but I hope you both are well. Please come see me in the Citadel. This is such a cool song. I love this song, and I love the jamming at the end. This is definitely one of my favorites on the album. Oh man, this is awesome song. Never get tired of it for me. Every time I listen to it, I always crank it out.
Better than Brown Sugar, better than Satisfaction.
Yes.
Give me Shelter. Start
Yes.
me up.
Even
Yes.
Miss Amanda Jones.
Yes.
Oh boy.
Trying to think. Yeah, it's the best. It's my favorite Stones riff. Now I get to the next song on the album. Scott, bring back the garbage can because I know it's gonna be there for you. In Another Land.
Oh, I thought we were going to talk about 2000, man. I forgot about this one. Okay, it's time to talk about In Another Land, and I am going to do the entire talking like this because that's exactly what it sounds like if you listen to the record. This song is sung by Bill Wyman in a weird, distorted, and warbly voice. It's the only time that Bill Wyman gets to sing on the album, and it gets annoying really fast, much like I'm talking right now. This was the lead-off single from this album. I don't know why. And at the end, you can hear Bill Wyman snoring. Yeah, you can tell I don't like this.
Okay, let's get it.
This song sucks. This is one of the worst songs on the album. I completely agree with Scott. I don't know why they had Bill Wyman sing on this track. It's the only time he sung on a Stones song, and thank God he does not sing on another Rolling Stones track because I don't think I could take much more of that after this song. The distorted vocals where it sounds like he's singing underwater. Terrible idea. First, I thought it was Mick Jagger singing. I'm like, what? But I was corrected. I'm like, I would have hated this song more if Mick Jagger was singing it with that awful vocal distortion.
Mick Jagger would not do that bad.
The chorus is probably the least annoying because it's the only time Mick Jagger leaves vocals on it. But you get to the awful verses with Bill Wyman, it's like it really kills the energy of this song, and it's one of the worst songs on the album. Really terrible song.
Yet again, I am in disagreement with both of you. Yet again, this is an awesome song. I really, really like it. Hold their horses though. This is not in my top 5. So
Wild horses.
before, as Shrek would say, sharpen your pitchforks. This is not my top 5. Having that said, I love this song. I love the weird vocal effects. It's funny because I bet if John Lennon did something like this, a lot of music fans would be loving it. But it's my opinion, how I feel. I love the chorus though with Mick Jagger singing with the small faces. I love that a lot because well, most of the song was recorded with just Bill Wyman and the small faces, and Mick Jagger and Keith Richards came in kind of last minute for this song because yeah, it was just one day they were just kind of like Bill Wyman and like the small faces and Charlie Watts were kind of just sitting around and like Bill Wyman's like, let's do this song because they're not here again. Love this song a lot. This is a very cool song on the album. The snoring bit I can take or leave, but not enough to affect it for me. And the snoring goes straight into 2000 Man.
Okay, now we're getting to good stuff. I told you there were songs I liked on this album. This is one of them. This song is really cool. I like how it starts off kind of more like a folksy sounding song. And it gets the, 'cause you know he's a 2000 man. And then you get the middle section, which is very different. And then like it goes back to the folksy section at the end. This is one of the best songs on the album and one that I actually like.
All right. Do I agree with Scott on this? Is this song good or do I still think it's garbage? Well, I actually do really like this song. It's the only song on side one that I like, by the way. This one has a pretty good melody to it. I actually like Mick Jagger's vocals on the track. Pretty good folksy production. I love it when the song intensifies in the bridge, where it feels more like a rock song. I think even like the lyrics to the song, I think there's a little bit of sci-fi influence to it, and I thought that was pretty cool. Still not a top tier Rolling Stones song, but as far as this album goes, it's easily one of the best songs on this album.
Although there is a part where I'm like, what the heck? When he's like, I'm having an affair with a random computer. I'm like, what the heck is that supposed to mean?
I love that lyric. It's so...
Well, I was born in 1999, so I'm close to being a 2000 man, and that wasn't happening in the 2000s.
That's such a futuristic lyric. It's like...
It is.
So ahead of its time. You know what? I'm in full agreement with you guys. This is going to be the only real trifecta we're gonna have on this album.
Okay.
I mean, we're gonna agree that "She's a Rainbow" is a good song, but this one I love. We could all agree this is a great song. I love the lyrics. Mick Jagger sings his heart out on this one. I love the production. This is like, I would say most of the production kind of sounds a little crappy compared to the last two albums, but I feel like this is the closest they got to having that great production that the Aftermath and the Between the Buttons album had. I love the chorus. Oh, mama, proud of your son. Oh, daddy, proud of your planet. Oh, mommy, proud of your son. And then at the end with Mick Jagger's like, and you know that you're 2000 man, and your kids, they just won't understand you at all. And it just kind of ends, and you just got this weird organ thing at the end. What a masterpiece. If there's a song that I feel like should get the most recognized, if there's two songs I feel like should get the most recognition on this album, besides the obvious one that everyone else likes, is this song and 2000 Light Years from Home. Now, this song goes into a track called Sing This All Together, See What Happens.
Oh, boy. This is Revolution number 8. And you know what I'm talking about. This is Revolution number 9 before Revolution number 9 was even a thing. It's not as annoying as Revolution number 9 because you can at least hear some music in there and it's not scary. It's just weird, but there's all these sounds. It's just like random music and random sounds, and it goes on for 8.5 minutes. And it really just goes nowhere and doesn't really have a point. I will say this is not my least favorite Rolling Stones song. Still better than Star Star, but it's my second to least favorite Rolling Stones song. I do not like this song at all. I would have much rather had Dandelion and We Love You replace this song, because you could have had both of them in the runtime. It had Dandelion and We Love You on side 1, and it would have bumped my score up at least 1 point, but no, this is... I do not want to hear this song again. This is not good. This is not good. The Stones are capable of so much better.
Worst Rolling Stones song I've ever heard.
I'll just wait till you hear Star Star.
Calling it a song is generous, because it's not really a song. It's just random noises that they're trying to throw at the wall and sounding as obnoxious as possible. I wouldn't be surprised if Yoko Ono heard this song and was like, hey, Johnny boy, hey, John, listen to this amazing song. We could make a good Beatles song out of this and call it Revolution 9. This feels like a bad prototype of an even worse song. At least they do some singing at the end of it, but by then it's like too little too late. This, for an album called The Satanic Majesties Request, this is the song that definitely feels like you're in hell listening to it.
Yep.
It's that bad.
Yep. Oh, do you want to know what's at the end of this song? So the end of this song is where you get the Cosmic Christmas from. It's Bill Wyman singing We Wish You a Merry Christmas slowed down to where you can't hear what he's singing. It's like... That's what the end of this song is.
Oh my god.
Okay, I'm not gonna strongly disagree with you guys. Like, there's a lot of what you said that is true. This is a mess of a track. Calling it a song, I agree. It's not a song; it's a track for the most part. I do like parts of this track, though. I like how I love. Here's what Vinyl Rewind said. He perfectly said it. It's like you get this build up, like a tsunami's about to hit, and you're ready for the big explosion, but right as it's gonna happen, nothing happens. So there's a lot of building up. There's a lot of building up going on in parts of the track, but then it just kind of falls short. It happens more than once on the track where it's just like, it's gonna happen. Like, oh, something's crazy's gonna happen. Nothing.
Yeah, at least Going Home builds up to something at the end.
Yeah.
And then no, it's just like at the end especially, but like there's like 4 or 5 parts of the song where it's like, oh, we're getting somewhere. We're getting somewhere. Oh no. Oh, we're getting somewhere. We're getting somewhere. Oh no. I like this. I especially love the part of the beginning where like it's just this like flew in the beginning, but then like I think Mick Jagger said pass on the joint or something. You got the joint, and then the that's like the best. That's like before like on Revolution 9. It reminds me of the part of Revolution 9 where it's like, take this, brother, may it serve you well. It reminds me of that. Well, it came out before that, but you get the idea. I like the singing at the end, but I agree with Jacob, though. It does come out a little too late. Like, none of that, but when they start to sing, it's, you expect, like, this big roar of... I was expecting it to be, like, everyone starts to sing again, like, why don't we sing this song all together? Like, something big and climatic, but it's just like, why don't we sing this song all together? And they sing it, and it's just like, da 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 da. I'm like, okay, not the best way to end this. It would have been better if there was more singing on it. None of that, but The reason why I like this track, if you tell me to play a song that best sums up the craziness of the Rolling Stones in 1967 and the stuff that they were going on, this sums up really well with what was going on in their lives. This craziness, the lawsuits, the affairs, just the sheer amount of craziness that went on during this album, the making of this album. If you're like, hey Nick, what's a good track that sums up 1967 Stones?
Cool, calm, and collected.
I wouldn't say cool, calm, and collected. That was before everything. That was, but if you want a song that best describes Rolling Stones past Between the Buttons of 1967, there you have it. Now we flip the record over. I'm the only one who actually has the record, but I have it framed, so I can't do it right now.
The Rolling Stones were framed for drugs.
We get to the next track on the album. She's a Rainbow.
Okay, I said there were songs that I liked on this album, and this is one of them. We got 2000 Man, and we got this one. So what you got at the beginning of this song is Mick Jagger doing like a carnival barker impression. I can't exactly tell what he's saying, but he's like trying to sound like one of those people who tries to get you to play carnival games or come to see the show. And then you got this really cool piano at the beginning played by Nicky Hopkins. Dun 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 dun. And there's lots of great piano on this song. And then there's lots of great orchestra on this song as well, which I think wasn't that done like John Paul Jones? The orchestrations on this song?
Yes, John Paul Jones did that.
Okay, well, the orchestrations on this song are very good. I love the orchestrations on here. Mick Jagger's singing is very good. Yeah, this is a pretty good song. I don't think it's one of my favorite Rolling Stones songs, but it's definitely my favorite on this album.
Yeah, this is one of the rare songs from this album I had heard before. I think before listening to the album in full, I'd only heard this song and 2000 Man. And I think when I originally heard this song, I wasn't that crazy about it. But then after hearing the whole album and listening to it again, maybe because I've started to appreciate some of the Rolling Stones ballads from this time, like Ruby Tuesday and As Tears Go By and Lady Jane. Man, that really makes a difference. I really, really like this song now, and I think I'll spill the beans. This is my favorite song on the album, easily. This one is the closest one I'd say is a near masterpiece as far as Rolling Stones songs go. I love the piano riff on the song. Some really great orchestrations. It blew my mind hearing that John Paul Jones did the orchestrations, and this was, I think, 2 years before Led Zeppelin formed, which is really crazy. And we're going through the Led Zeppelin series, and I've started to really appreciate the talents of John Paul Jones when going for all the Led Zeppelin albums. So, really cool early start there. Really catchy chorus. Colors everywhere. And pretty good harmonies on the track as well. This one, I know what Nick's about to say. Yeah, maybe it feels Beatles-like, but, Beatles were big at the time. It's good to take influence from a band and do your own creative spin on it. That's how I felt with Ruby Tuesday, and I feel it again with She's a Rainbow. I think it's a really good song.
I will say I like Ruby Tuesday a lot better.
Yeah, me too. But
I still do really like this song. It's popped into my head a few times this week, especially just that piano. Dun 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 dun.
The most catchy song on the album.
Right.
My opinion on this song, I think it's good. That's about it. It's nothing special. It's I like the orchestration on it, but this is too darn Beatles-like for me. This sounds like I'm in Candyland. I like it, but it's probably my least favorite song on the album. Not like out of all the 9 songs, not See What Happens is not a song, that's a track. This is my least favorite song on the album. Um, it's good. It's doesn't dock the album for me, but out of all the cool creative songs you got on this album, like to be honest, this is like the last song I want to listen to on the album. It's too Beatles like, and like I just said, it sounds like they're in Candyland.
In another land?
Yeah, in another land, Candyland. Uh, Sounds like Sammy Davis Jr. is about to say, "Who can make the sun rise, sprinkling with you? I'm the Candy Man." Sounds like that's gonna happen while listening to this. It's just too it's too bright. It's too positive. Like I like everything else on this album a lot, but to me, this is just good. It's not. I mean, we could all agree this is a good song at least, but yeah, I'm probably the least positive on this song. Oh yeah, I love Candyman. That's a great song.
I love that song.
I'm not dissing Candyman. Don't think I'm doing that. I just
I'll diss Candyman, the Hollies song.
yeah.
I'll diss Candyman, the version in the actual Willy Wonka movie. That version sucks, but Sammy Davis version's amazing.
I agree. But yeah, this is not a bad song. It's just good compared to the great. She's a Rainbow goes right into the Lantern.
The Lantern is an okay song. It's one that I might be just okay with if I listen to it more. Right now, I'm just going to say I'm neutral on the Lantern. It's all right. I don't actively hate this song, and I wouldn't actively seek it out.
This is one of the songs I actually liked on this album. I liked that it had more of a folksy production. I thought it had an interesting story to tell, this like tragic love story, and they used the lantern as a metaphor to signify, I think, the undying love of this couple, even in the midst of a tragedy. Uh, it's not a top tier Rolling Stones song, but like with some other tracks I already mentioned, like 2000 Man, this is still one of the better songs on this album. I don't mind this one.
Okay. I'm in full disagreement with you guys. I love this song. Definitely one of the cooler songs on the album. And I love the kind of eeriness after like how like She's a Rainbow is just like this glittery sunshine song, and then like you get like the bells after like in this song, and it's just like, and then you get that like ominous like guitar intro, and I'm just like, this is one cool song. I'm like, man, this is one of the best songs on the album. I'm in love with the we in our present life. I agree. This is a cool. I agree. This does sound like a folksy song, and I think it works to its great advantage. I think, man, I love this song. I've always loved this song, and I'll continue to love this song till the sun shines. Now we get to the next song on the album, The Gomper.
Yeah, this is a very odd song. I don't know what to think about a lot of these songs on this album. This is one of them. It's like I have no idea what in the world I'm listening to. This odd music and Brian Jones playing some kind of demented recorder. Like I just don't get this song.
All right, so there have been weird tracks on this album that I've not been a fan of. This song is really, really weird. Yet strangely, I kind of like this song. I don't know why. I don't get this song, but I think this one, leans a little bit into a kind of weird that I can kind of vibe with. I think what I actually do like the recorder part from Brian Jones. I've never heard anybody play a recorder like that, and because of that, it does get some points for that. I don't know if this song needed to be 5 minutes though, That's probably like the one knock I have against the song. But other than that, again, it's one of the better tracks on this album, I'd say, by default.
I love this song. This is another song I really enjoy. This is like their Within You Without You, the album. Um, I'll give my thoughts on Within You Without You when we review Sgt. Pepper's. This song is so cool. I love the recorder on it. I agree with you, Jacob. Recorder is killer. I love it. It really carries the song through. I actually think the song's great throughout. I don't think it's too long. The jamming is so mesmerizing. I find myself enjoying it the entire way through. I really really like the song. I'm not sure if this is gonna make my top 5, but I really like the song. Now I get to the next song on the album, which is the B-side to "She's a Rainbow," 2000 Light Years from Home.
The song is freaky. Like, it's not like Not to Touch the Earth by the Doors level freaky, but it's freaky. Like, again, these 3 songs that we've had in a row, I just don't know what to do with them. This one is probably the best out of the 3, just because of the creativity of it. But I have no idea what's going on in this song.
This is probably one of the few times I'm going to have to disagree with Scott, because this is one of my favorite songs on the album. All right.
Okay. And I'm gonna, real quick before you talk about it, I'm gonna preface something here. It's not because like I don't like weird stuff, but honestly, some of the stuff I like is kind of weird. I like progressive rock. Some of the Peter Gabriel Genesis stuff is weird in the best way possible, but like
Cuckoo,
cocoon, whatever.
That song is really odd.
Fly away, little bird, I'm on your trail. But like, I just have no idea what to do. My brain just hears this and thinks, cannot process. Like, you know, whenever you like put your credit card in a machine and it says like unable to process and you get declined, that's what my brain does with these 3 songs. It goes in my ear, my brain says declined, unable to process.
That's fair.
That's pretty much me with Citadel. But definitely can understand that. But yeah, I actually really like this song. I think of all the songs in this album that's out there and different, this one I thought worked for me. I think because I think I really got into the weird storytelling of this song about space travel being 2,000 light years from home. I'm surprised this song's not been in any sci-fi movie, because I think if it was in a sci-fi movie, I think it would make that movie even more awesome. I think this song lyrically reminds me a little bit of Elton John's Rocket Man, but weirder. Dealing with the loneliness of being out in outer space.
That's fair. Yeah.
I thought this was a very admirable song, very underrated, and it's one of the better songs on this album.
Oh man, I was expecting to really be defending the song. I love this song. This is easily the best song on the album. This definitely should have been the A side. If not, it could have been a double A side. Like, you got the Rainbowy Beetle thing, then you got this cool song. Don't kill me for agreeing with what Cramser said. Cramser said this in I forgot which video they said, but Cramser said it perfectly. Paul McCartney can't write anything this cool around this time. John Lennon couldn't write anything like this at this time that's this cool, and certainly not George Harrison.
Okay, hold on a second. I have to have a few words with Mr. Cramser.
I am in full agreement with Cramser there. Paul McCartney's capable of writing cool stuff, but not in the Beatle era, in my opinion. This is what people say. This is a Sgt. Pepper ripoff.
A Day in the Life.
I'm not a fan of that song. It's just not one of my favorites.
Penny freaking Lane.
Life? That sounds amazing.
That song was never on this album. I mean,
Penny Lane
wasn't on Sgt. Pepper's.
it was written around this time.
Penny Lane was on Magical Mystery Tour, I thought.
It
was recorded for Sgt. Pepper's. It was just a single.
Well, like in terms of wild experimentation, I don't think any of the Beatles could write something this cool and crazy at the same time.
Strawberry Fields Forever.
That's like I'll say that's close to being like this, but like this is like one of those songs
Lucy
that makes
in the Sky with Diamonds.
It's close, but none of them were able to write anything like this. This was the Stones' psychedelic rock. And when people are like, "This is them copying Sgt. Pepper," no, it's not. None of the Beatles could write anything like this, and the Rolling Stones could never write anything like Penny Lane. Hence, why "She's a Rainbow" is probably my least favorite song on the album, because "She's a Rainbow" sounds too much like they're trying to make like Penny Lane, and I'm like, no, don't do that. Penny Lane is the Beatles' masterpiece.
So I guess it is true. There's two kinds of people in the world: Beatles people and Stones people.
I
do like both, but I'm more of a Beatles person.
I'm more of a Stones person.
I would say I prefer the Beatles, but you can enjoy both.
We just haven't gotten to any of my favorite Beatles albums yet, which is why I've been giving the Stones more compliments recently. Because I like the Stones. I like the Stones albums we've been talking about better than the Beatles albums we've been talking about, with the exception of Hard Day's Night.
I'll say you're in a bad spot right now, because
we're in a really bad spot. We're reviewing Cosmic Christmas. We reviewed Beatles for Sale. Now we're reviewing Cosmic Christmas. Then we're going to have to review Presents. Like, we're reviewing all my favorite albums right now. I'm waiting until we get to In Through the Outdoor and Rubber Soul and Cosmo's Factory.
Man, if we were starting the Fleetwood Mac series, we would have been reviewing Mr. Wonderful.
Oh no!
Oh boy!
Let's. I can't wait to talk about Summer in Paradise. Oh man! It all joke this aside, I love this song, 2,000 Light Years from Home. I respect where you're coming from, though, Scott, because when I first heard this song, I actually hated it. This is like the one track I actually hated the most off this album. Even Sing This All Together, I liked better than this at first. I'm like, what the hell are they singing about? What the hell is this? I was in the same boat as you.
And that is why they called it Satanic, because it made people say, what the hell?
Because I was in your spot before.
That is why.
But I listened to this album so many times to the point where now this is my favorite on the album. This should have been the closer of the album. I'll fully admit that. Like the next track, you guys could crap all over it and all. And I like the next song, but this should have been the closer of the album. This would have been a fantastic way to close out their psychedelic madness. Speaking of that, on with the show.
Oh boy. So this just feels like a worse version of Something Happened to Me Yesterday. You get them tuning up Mick Jagger's radio, and then they tune to a station, and it's just Mick Jagger like, on with the show, good health to you. We must bid you now adieu. We'll see you in our next album. Goodbye. Like that. It's like, I actually like Something Happened to Me Yesterday, but this is like almost like a caricature of it, with the weird psychedelic production on it. Oh my goodness, I can't wait to talk about Beggar's Banquet. I can't wait to talk about Beggar's Banquet, because it is so much better. I say I'm never going to listen to this album again, but every time I've said that, I've had to listen to albums that I've said that about for the review. I'm going to have to do it with some of the Beach Boys albums that I hate. But I seriously do not want to listen to this album again after this review, other than 2000 Man and She's a Rainbow. Like, if I never hear In Another Land or Gomper or Sing This All Together and See What Happens, I don't care if I ever hear any of those songs again. Like, this is not the period of Rolling Stones that I'm into. I want to hear I Can't Get No Satisfaction, Paint It Black, anything on Aftermath or Between the Buttons, Beggar's Banquet, Let It Bleed, Sticky Fingers. There are so many other Rolling Stones albums that I would much rather be listening to right now. Like, it's a waste of my time. If I'm going to put on the Rolling Stones, why would I pick this album? There's so many better ones. I'm sorry I'm going on a rant now. I never go on rants. I never go on rants, but I let me cook. All right, let me cook on this one. This is the garbage. This is my garbage moment. This is my garbage moment.
You go, Scott. I'm glad you're having this because, like I said, I would absolutely despise if we're all gonna agree on the same crap. If we're gonna all be on here like, this is a great album. This is a great album. We all don't like this one. We all like this one. How interesting would the video be if we're all going to agree with each other? Why? Why have you guys on here if you're going to just agree with them?
Precisely.
Art and artist expression.
So
yes.
You guys go off. You guys go off.
Yes.
I fully implore you guys to go off. I went on the rant about about 2000 light years from home, and like I said. I'll let you guys sharpen up the pitchforks. I'm going to be the Shrek in this video. I am an ogre. Going off on it.
That's about all the ranting that I'm going to do. Other than I've seen this album at the record store before, and I have never even considered buying this album. I might get the She's a Rainbow 45 because that's a very good song, but. Scott's mic drop one. Is 2000 Man, was that released as a single?
No.
I think I read the only ones that were singles were In Another Land and Rainbow.
No. Okay, I might pick up the She's a Rainbow 45 because I like that song, but like I don't want to listen to this album again. This is, in my opinion, I'm really sorry for saying this, Nick. I know this is one of your favorite Rolling Stones albums, but like this is a terrible representation of who the Stones are. Like if you're gonna show somebody like, hey, you want to listen to the Rolling Stones, and like, sure, what are we gonna listen to? Oh, we're gonna listen to the Satanic Majesties. It's like, what the heck? First off, what's up with that awful name? B, if this is your introduction to the Rolling Stones, you're gonna think that like, well, they were on drugs, but like, you're gonna think that they're just stoned all the Rolling Stone, not the Rolling Stones. You're just gonna think that they're the Rolling Stone, and that they're not good musicians. That they just get high and it's like, oh.
You notice one thing about this album?
The Citadel.
Do you notice one thing about this album that's different from the previous three albums we released?
The producer.
Notice one big thing about it?
The producer?
No, not that. One huge thing that
Brian Jones isn't all there?
Yes. That is one huge thing we're missing on this album.
Like he does a little bit of stuff. He plays the mellotron, which is, it could have been cool having Brian Jones play the mellotron, but it should have been on a different style of song. Like, I know that Brian Jones kind of is the Rolling Stone at this point. Is not all mentally there, but like
didn't he do Less and Less because he was the one worse off, and that was why they fired him.
Yeah, he was like, the other ones were doing drugs, but like he was like a heavy LSD user at the time. The other ones were at least more moderate about their drug use, but Brian Jones was like huge on LSD and basically fried his brains out. It's sad because he was a really good musician and could have used his brains to make even more amazing Rolling Stone songs in the 70s. Could you imagine Wild Horses with the production of Under My Thumb with Brian Jones playing like marimba and stuff on it?
Ooh.
Man, that's making me upset.
Yeah. It is what it is. I wouldn't say Keith Richards was really laying off the drugs either. He was.
No, he wasn't laying off the drugs. The only thing is, how is that man still alive? How is that man still alive?
Okay.
That's the end of my Rolling Stone rant.
All right.
This is probably the last time I will rant about the Stones. But
my thoughts on the show. Garbage. This is not a good album closer. Probably the worst album closer on Stone's album. Now, I wasn't big on Something Happened to Me Yesterday. I think it's a fine song, even with how weird it is, but it's catchy. I don't think it's a good album closer on Between the Buttons. This is like a worse version of Something Happened to Me Yesterday, mixed with the obnoxiousness of Hats Off to Roy Harper. Not as bad as Hats Off to Roy Harper, but on a similar vein as that annoying song. You have the Mick Jagger vocal distortion that's really annoying. It feels like a show tune, like it's promoting something, but I don't like the way this is being promoted, and it's like a big turnoff. So I don't know what he's trying to sell, but whatever it is, I don't want it because it's annoying. Yeah, this is not a good song. Definitely my bottom 3 songs on this album. It's a really sucky closer.
Well, this is the last time I disagree with you guys strongly for the rest of for a long time with the Stones.
Well, they get so much better after this album.
I really like this song. I love the British humor of it. I mean, I'm a sucker for British humor, like Harold the Barrel from
Harold
Genesis.
the Barrel is a million times better than this song.
I love this song.
Get him out by Friday.
Get him out by Friday. I love that song too. I freaking love this song. No one could ever change my mind about my thoughts on this album. I'll take this over any song besides 8 Days a Week from Beatles for Sale. I'll take this over Star Moonlight or Hey 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 Hey. Yeah, this is a cool closer. Again, I will say well, no one said this, but I will say I think 2,000 Light Years from Home was a way better album closer.
Oh, that should have been the closer.
Have like that cool sci-fi-ness close out the album. Before we give our top 5, or I know Scott's gonna only have a top 2.
I have a top 3 at least. I'll try to do 5.
I have enough for a top 5 actually.
Okay. Before we do that, let's talk about the non-album singles. Let's talk about the A-side first. We Love You.
Okay, we're finally on something that I actually enjoyed. This is weird, but in kind of a more cool way. They're kind of playing around with words like "we love you," "you love they," stuff like that. Apparently, this song was written for their fans who were standing by them after they got drug busted. It's got John Lennon and Paul McCartney singing backing vocals on it. This is much better than most of the stuff on the actual album.
Right. Okay, this is "We Love You" we're talking about, right?
Yes.
Okay, for some reason I thought it was Dandelion, but Scott was describing "We Love You." I'm like, which one are we talking about? But "We Love You." Okay. I kind of got dozed out. No, I'm not on drugs. But yeah, I like this song fine. I like the piano riff that's the main drive of this song. It's cool that John Lennon and Paul McCartney share backing vocals on this track. This one, I think this is the closest they have to a hard rock song on, I think, this cycle, this era, if you want to call it.
It's a one-album era.
Thank you, Swifties.
Oh, no. I mean, period, not era. This period of the Stones.
Yeah, whatever. I don't love the song. I don't think it's top tier, but it's catchy enough, and it's got a good hook to it.
Okay. I'm actually kind of with Jacob on this. I like the song, but kind of like with "She's a Rainbow," I just think it's just good. I don't really find myself really going back to this one that much. Next song, the second and last song, the B side to the song is "Dandelion."
even better. This song is really cool. I really enjoyed this song, and I'm really upset that this isn't on this album because it would have fit a lot better than any of the other songs on, or not any of the other, but most of the songs on this album.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with Scott. I think this is a really awesome track. I have no idea why this was not on the actual album. I think if this song and We Love You were on this album instead of the worst songs on the album we got, I think I would have given this a slightly higher score than the score I'm going to give it. I think what really helps is, especially on this track, Lennon and McCartney really shine on the backing vocals. I can actually hear them on this track than on We Love You. So this is the Rolling Stones Beatles crossover that I never knew existed. I never even heard of this song until Nick brought it up that we were covering it as a non-album single. And I'm glad, Nick, that you introduced me to this track. This is, I think, as a Beatles fan, the fact that they teamed up with the Stones, I think showed that there should be no animosity between the two groups. You can enjoy them just fine, and that's what I feel like this song represents more than anything else. It also helps that you have a really catchy chorus. I forgot the words because this song's still new to me.
You don't know the words?
That's infuriating.
About wearing a mask and something about a clown.
Yeah, I think it's a really good song. I wish this song was more appreciated among music fans because this song is awesome.
This one and All You Need Is Love, because Mick Jagger and Keith Richards did backing vocals on All You Need Is Love.
See, I actually didn't know that until you brought it up to me recently.
It was also the first song to ever be broadcasted simultaneously around the world.
Cool.
Not Dandelion, but All You Need Is Love. I need to save that. Save that. I'll save that for the Magical Mystery Tour video.
I freaking love this song. There's a song of the two that I really need to be on the album. It's this one. Love its whimsical feel to it. The chorus. I mean, come on. How could anyone not like the chorus? I mean, I know everyone tends to hate on this album and this period, this era of the band. But come on, Dandelion is such a cool song. I love the Tinker Tailor Soldier. I freaking love this song. Dandelion, don't tell no lies. Dandelion will make you wise. Tell me if she laughs or cries. Blow away, Dandelion. Blow away, Dandelion. Ah, man. I can never get enough of this song. I would show them flowers first, then beggars banquets. Cool. Okay. Let's get to the top songs on the album.
Yay. Number 1 is She's a Rainbow. Number 2 is 2000 Man. Number 3 is Citadel. I gotta pick 2 more. Number 4, just probably out of respect for what they're doing, would be 2000 Light Years from Home. And number 5, The Lantern.
Okay.
All right. For me, I'll share my dishonorable mentions. My bottom 3 are On With the Show, In Another Land, and at the very bottom, Sing This All Together, See What Happens, aka Early Prototype Revolution 9, or Revolution 8 as Scott called it.
Yeah, those are my dishonorables as well.
I don't have any honorable mentions. Top 5. Number 5 is Gomper. Number 4, The Lantern. Number 3, 2000 Man. Number 2, 2000 Light Years from Home. Number 1, She's a Rainbow. Although, if the 2 non-album singles were on the album, We Love You would be an honorable mention. Dandelion would be number 2.
That's cool though. With the regular album, your two favorites are the two, the A side and the B side. As for me, my honorable mentions will be "Sing This All Together," the original, "In Another Land," and my third honorable mention will be "On with the Show." As for the two dishonorable mentions, not really dishonorable, just my two least favorite. "Sing This All Together," "See What Happens," and "She's a Rainbow." Those are my two least favorites from the album. As for my top 5, my number 5 is going to be "Yomper." My number 4 is going to be "Citadel." My number 3 is going to be "The Lantern." My number 2 is going to be "2000 Man," and my favorite song on the album, "2000 Light Years from Home." What will you guys rate this album from 1 through 10?
Nick, I'm very sorry to rate this album this low. I'm not going to change my rating, but what do you think that I would rate this album?
1 out of 10?
No, not nearly that low.
Okay.
I have heard worse. Much, much worse. So this album is going to get a 5 out of 10 for me. I like the 2 songs that I said. They're good enough to get it to a 5. If "Dandelion" and "We Love You" were on here instead of "See What Happens," it would probably get a 6. But
what did you rate the debut?
I think the debut was like a 6 or something like that. So yeah, sadly this is lower than the debut now. Because the debut at least has "Tell Me," "Route 66, "Not Fade Away." That's 3 songs I like. This album has 2 songs that I like. Although I might include "Citadel" if I hear it more times. But
All right. Well, I don't think this is a garbage album. I don't hate it as much as Nick's hatred for Beatles for Sale.
no.
I don't think this is a good album. I think this album has half the semi-interesting to good songs, and then half not so good to garbage songs. This album is a mess. I don't think Psychedelic really worked for them, with the exception of 2000 Light Years from Home. I think that's an amazing song. The rest of this album felt like they were chasing a trend, and they failed miserably at it. Actually, with Scott, I don't think this suits the Stones at all. I think them doing the bluesy rock predominantly, I think, was more their style. I'm going to give this a 5 out of 10, mainly because, yeah, I like "She's a Rainbow," 2000 Man, 2000 Light Years from Home. There's quite a bit of junk on this album, and that really hurts it. I admire it for being them trying to go out of the box, but it definitely did not work in their favor. I gave it the same score as the debut. I like this a little more than the debut. This one's a little more of a memorable album than the debut. The debut is more on the mediocre side for me. But they're, as of now, they're my 2 least favorite Rolling Stones albums, and I concur with Scott said. If "Dandelion" and "We Love You" were on this album, I would have given it a 6 out of 10.
You need to hear "Beggar's Banquet." It's going to save the Stones for you. It's such a good album.
As for me, I've given this album lots and lots of praise. This is far into my top 100 albums. I'll proudly say that with no shame. This is a 10 out of 10 album for me. I like everything on this album. There's
5 and 5 make 10.
Averaging it's a 6.5 out of 10, which is what it is, you know. But man, this is a awesome album. Definitely one of the best albums of '67 for me. Barely misses my top 5 of '67. So when we do our top 5 albums of '67 again, for you it'll be fortunate, but for me, you won't be seeing this on the list. It's a big honorable mention, though. Yes, I am excited to talk about Beggar's Banquet, but as of now, going through the U.S. albums, this is my favorite Stones album. So, on Scott's end, it's his least favorite. On Jacob's end, it's second least, and for me, it's their best album that they've made so far. But like I said, from their 1966 period, like from 1966 to '68, this is like, in terms of UK. Now I'm going to the UK stuff. In terms of their UK albums, this is like almost the end of an era for them in terms of like some of their best albums, alongside Aftermath.
I'm on a video.
Alongside Aftermath, Between the Buttons, and Beggar's Banquets. I will defend the hell out of this album from now until the day I die. No one could ever change my mind, and I'm glad you guys stay firm on your opinions, because yeah. So that concludes the video. Next video, again, we will talk about Beggar's Banquets. Technically, we are not at the end of the Brian Jones era. There are still 2 more albums with Brian Jones in it. Maybe not as prolific, but we were getting close.
Is this like the last album that he had some major involvement in?
No, that was Between the Buttons, actually. This was like the start. This was like the start of the extreme decline for him. This album, Beggar's Banquet, and Let It Bleed are like, he's on the albums, but yeah, his 2 biggest albums are Aftermath and Between the Buttons.
Probably why those 2 are some of my favorites.
So thank you guys so much for watching this video. I know Jason's been watching the video with us. Thank you for watching this video, Jason. But that'll be a wrap for tonight. Let's go Rangers. And I'll see you guys in the next one. I don't know if you're at work. I forgot if you're at work or not, Jason. If you are not at work, I just sent over the StreamYard link if you want to join us. But again, thank you guys for watching this video, and I'll see you.